All right, so welcome everyone. It's me, Chris, again. So I just really wanted to go over a very short video for you guys on how to do those polling questions. I'm not going to go into extreme depth. If you need to, feel free, reach out to me, text me, FaceTime me if you really want to. But I figured that this was a good video for you guys to go over, learn the steps for the WebEx polling, and use it as a tool to really dig into some of those internet-based trainings that we're going to have to be doing here shortly. So let's get into it. I'm going to go ahead, I've got my WebEx productivity tools open. I'm just going to go ahead and start a blank meeting here. It's nice to do that just because as you're trying to prep and have everything, it's going to allow you to make these questions on the fly. So what I'm going to do is going to go down to these three little buttons here and go into polling, and it's going to pull up the polling screen here. I'm going to skip this first portion, but down here to start adding new questions, right? We've got three different types. We've got single, multiple, and short answer. We're just going to click single for now, and we'll explain these as we go. I'm going to click new, and in here, we've got the cursor blinking. I'm just going to type in, do you like dogs? And following that, I'm just going to click enter and say either yes, no, and why not, maybe. So there is your first question right there. Very simple, very easy to use. We'll go down to multiple answer, and this way you're going to be able to create questions that have multiple answers, right? It might be one or two of them. So let's say, what state was Johnny in? For a SafeStart story, right? And so you're going to have your answers. So let's say rushing, frustration, I can't spell today, fatigue, and complacency. And there you have it. There's a multiple answer one that people can use and actually think about. So now we'll get into short answer. Be very cautious with short answer questions because they can get people to write a book. So be very specific. So how many times have you fallen off a ladder? Hopefully it's not much, but people can type in as many as they need to. Make sure that you're clicking either enter or add for answer after you're doing these questions, otherwise it's not going to record them. So once you've done all of your questions, you've built it out, there's a couple things that you're going to want to do. Up at the top here, now I'm going to re-explain these ones here, there is a down arrow button, and if you highlight it long enough it says save. So we're going to save this, and you're going to want to have a folder that you're going to want to consistently save these things in so you're not searching all over the place. I've got my SafeStart recap polling questions. I'm going to type in basic poll questions. And so as I save that, it's saving all three of these questions so that I can pull them up anytime that I want to. So for example, if I hit the clear all button and accidentally, oh no, I just erased all my questions, I can go back to this folder button which says open, click it, and look at that, I'm back to my recap poll questions, and I can go to basic poll questions, and look at that, I opened up all the ones that I just made, and so that you can use these multiple times over. For example, if I wanted to open up my SafeStart story poll, I have these pre-built questions, and it goes over the same things, right? Do they have the elements of a SafeStart story, the states, the critical errors that they made, the certs that could have prevented this, and also, are there any habits that they could have worked on? It's perfect. You can use this same questions multiple times through multiple meetings or even within the same meeting itself. Now, the next step after you've built all this stuff, and let's say you're in your WebEx meeting, you actually want to open this up. There's a couple things that you're going to do beforehand. First off, there's this record individual responses button. Don't click it. We want to make sure that these polls are anonymous. But what we're going to want to do is go into options. And here you have the option to display or not display a timer. I would suggest clicking display so people can actually see how much time that they have left. But also you're going to want to change the time. Most of the time you're not going to need a very long amount of time for the polls, right? Usually you're going to want about 30 seconds for each question. So for example, for this, the SafeStart story poll, I usually set it about 3 minutes. That's pretty good timing. So I'll click OK. And now I can open the poll. And in here, you're going to be able to see everybody starting to answer the questions. And also, if you're kind of running into issues, people not answering, you can actually look here and see, just click one of the buttons, and you can see people who have not started, who are in progress and finished. So that if you get down to like the last minute or maybe the halfway check-in, you could say, hey, you can call it, hey, Paul, you haven't started your polling session yet. Or Johnny, hey, you're in progress yet. It looks like there's a couple more that you need to finish out. And it's perfect. It keeps people awake, attentive, and on the go. Now, once you get done, you can either wait till the time limit goes out, or you can just simply close the poll once everybody's finished. Once you do that, the poll ends, and not everybody's going to be able to see the results. What you're going to want to do is click this poll results button and then click apply. Once you do that, everybody now will be able to actually see the results that are happening. Once again, you don't want to have the individual results. And so that's pretty much it for the poll questions. Now, here's a little bit extra added bonus. So let's say you go to create a new poll. It's going to prompt you for 2 questions. One, it's going to ask you once again, do you want to save the poll questions? Typically, you've already saved them. That's why you're pulling them up. So you don't have to do that. But you can actually save the poll results. So if managers want to take this down the road and say, I want to look at this and actually discuss some of this stuff later down the road, you can actually send him those results, him or her, those results later on. So you can save that. Same thing. You would just say poll results 22, I don't care. And you can actually send those out. And then here, now what you've done, since you've started a new one, it's going to make it blank again. So that's pretty much it. Beyond that, I would just suggest, practicing it a couple times. Reach out to a different trainer if you need to, because you guys are all going to have to kind of get used to this. And also, it's a good way to also start enveloping the fact that we're going to start using the video feature, right? It gets you a chance to be on top of the screen without being in front of a bunch of people, right? And you get to see how this works out, how it plays out. You get to go through the bumps first beforehand before actually getting into the meeting session. Because this is how we're going to have to start expecting people to start doing, these trainings. So that being said, I appreciate all that you guys have done so far. And like I said, if you have any questions, just reach out to me and I can help you with any of it. So thanks guys, appreciate it, and I'll talk to you guys later.